There's a white powder sitting on a hardware store shelf right now for $7. Most people walk right past it every single day. But this powder does something that a $5,000 air conditioning unit cannot do. It drops your indoor temperature by 10 full degrees. It reflects 98% of all incoming sunlight off your roof. And it works without a single wire, without one filter, and without ever sending another electricity bill to your door again. Purdue University tested it. Guinness World Records certified it as the most reflective surface ever created on Earth. CNN covered it. The Smithsonian wrote about it. And then quietly, almost invisibly, a $300 billion industry made absolutely sure you never heard its name. This is that name, and after today, you will never forget it. If you are new here, hit subscribe really quick. We opened the vaults they locked shut. Okay, here is what makes this story different from everything else you have ever heard about cooling your home. This is not a new invention. This is not some startup technology. This is not a product being sold to you by anyone. This powder is 4,000 years old. Travel back to 1500 BC, the island of Crete. A civilization called the Minoans already had this figured out completely. They looked around them and saw dark volcanic rock absorbing heat like a furnace all day long. Their homes were becoming ovens by noon. So they did something simple. They crushed local limestone, mixed it with water, and painted every single wall and every single roof surface pure white. The result was extraordinary. Outside temperatures were hitting 95 degrees under a brutal Mediterranean sun. Inside their white-coated homes, temperatures stayed around 72 degrees all day long. No machines, no electricity, no monthly bill sent to anyone. Just crushed rock, water, and 4,000 years of physics that nobody could argue with. The technique did not stay on that island. It spread everywhere. Ancient Greece painted every village white with this exact powder. Rome mixed it into the plaster of entire cities across their empire. Morocco, southern Spain, southern Italy, the entire Mediterranean coastline. Billions of people across thousands of years kept themselves cool using something that cost almost nothing to make. Your great-grandmother knew this powder. She painted her home every spring. 2 hours of work and her family stayed cool the entire summer. Then one man changed everything, and not for the better. In 1902, Willis Carrier invented modern residential air conditioning. Now, here's what they never teach you about that moment in history. Air conditioning was not invented because it cooled better than lime powder. It was invented because lime powder could not be sold back to you every single month. Think about that slowly for a second. You buy one $7 bag of lime. You mix it with water. You paint your roof. It works for 2 full years without touching it again. No filter to replace. No technician to call. No electricity meter spinning. And that is a nightmare for any industry trying to build a recurring revenue machine. Air conditioning gave them exactly what lime never could. A monthly electricity bill. A system needing annual servicing. Filters requiring replacement. Units breaking down every 8 to 10 years needing full replacement. A $14 solution to a problem they were planning to charge you $15,000 for. So the industry did what every threatened billion-dollar industry does. They did not ban the powder. They did not make it illegal. They did something far more effective and far more invisible than that. They simply stopped talking about it. No advertisements. No building code recommendations. No contractor suggestions. No home improvement show segments. Nothing. And within 2 generations, something that billions of humans used for 4,000 years just quietly disappeared from common knowledge. But the physics never disappeared. And that is where this story gets genuinely devastating for the industry that buried it. In 2021, Professor Shulin Ruan at Purdue University in Indiana sat down and asked a simple question. What is the most reflective paint surface a human being can actually create? What he built in his lab genuinely terrified the global paint industry. His formula reflected 98.1% of all sunlight hitting its surface. For context, standard commercial white paint reflects around 80% maximum. The gap between 80% and 98% sounds small, until you understand what it means in real temperature terms. A surface coated with Professor Ruan's formula does not just stay cool on a hot day, it actually drops below the surrounding air temperature entirely. During peak daytime heat, surfaces with this coating measured 8 degrees cooler than the air around them. At night, that gap grew to 19 degrees below air temperature. He then ran the numbers on a standard home. Painting just 1,000 square feet of roof with a high reflectivity white coating produces a continuous cooling output of 10 kilowatts. Your standard residential air conditioning unit outputs around 3 to 5 kilowatts. A coat of paint on your roof generates more than twice the cooling power of the air conditioning system running inside your home, without 1 single watt of electricity consumed. The Guinness Book of World Records certified his paint as the whitest and most reflective surface ever created by a human being. Peer-reviewed journals published the findings. CNN ran full segments. The Smithsonian covered it in detail. Every major science outlet on Earth reported on this discovery. And then the industry did exactly what it did in 1902. Almost nothing changed. Because here's the problem for a $200 billion global paint industry. You cannot patent limestone. You cannot trademark calcium hydroxide. You cannot create a subscription model for a powder anyone can walk into any hardware store and buy for $7 this afternoon. Sherwin-Williams, PPG Industries, the giants of the paint world. Their entire business model depends on paint that degrades in 5 to 7 years so you come back and buy again. A lime coating that lasts years and eliminates your need for air conditioning simultaneously threatens two massive industries at once. The paint industry. The air conditioning industry. Combined annual global revenue. Over $300 billion every single year against your $7 bag of powder. And so the burial got deeper. Homeowner associations across dozens of American states now have explicit written rules prohibiting white or highly reflective roofing surfaces. They mandate earth tones, browns, and dark grays, precisely the colors that absorb maximum solar heat and mathematically guarantee that you remain dependent on air conditioning forever. It is sitting in HOA rulebooks. You can look it up yourself right now. The roofing industry built standards favoring materials requiring scheduled replacement. Building codes quietly favored products, generating steady contractor revenue. A $14 bag of lime was simply left out of every conversation, every recommendation, every home improvement guide written in the last 70 years. Now here is exactly what to do with everything you just learned. Walk into any hardware store. Ask for Type S hydrated lime. It costs between $7 and $14 for a 50-pound bag. Take that bag home. Mix it with water until it looks like thin milk. Roughly 1 part lime to 2 parts water, stirred until completely smooth. Apply it to your roof with a thick roller or brush. 2 full coats. Let the first coat dry completely overnight before applying the second. Total cost for an average-sized roof, between $14 and $28. Total time, 1 single afternoon. A homeowner in Phoenix, Arizona did exactly this last summer. His attic temperature dropped from 138 degrees down to 94 degrees after the coating. His indoor temperature fell by 11 degrees across the entire house. His air conditioning ran at less than half its normal cycle the entire summer. His electricity savings for that single summer, over $1,100 from 2 bags of powder and 1 afternoon of work. Compare that to a new AC installation, $5,000 to $15,000 up front. Monthly electricity bills running $150 to $300 through every summer. Annual servicing fees, filters every few months, a unit that breaks down completely in 10 years and needs full replacement, or $14 and an afternoon. The Minoans figured this out before writing existed as a technology. The Romans used it to cool entire cities at the peak of their empire. Professor Ruin proved in a certified laboratory that it outperforms modern air conditioning pound for pound. And $300 billion in combined annual revenue needed you sitting in a hothouse, paying monthly, forever. But right now, in this moment, you just connected every single dot. This knowledge never actually left the planet. It was buried under decades of marketing and building codes quietly written by the exact people profiting from your heat. The powder is still on the shelf. $7. No questions asked. Available this afternoon. Your great-grandmother painted her home every spring with it. The science confirmed what 4,000 years of human history already proved. And today you just learned what they spent decades making sure you never would. If this hit you the way I think it did, share this video with one person who is dreading their summer electricity bill right now. Every share keeps this knowledge alive, that they worked very hard to erase. Subscribe to Forbidden Survival Secrets because every single week we pull something out of the vault that a billion-dollar industry buried and hoped you would never find. The next vault we open is going to make today's video look like the introduction. You do not want to miss what is coming.